Imagine landing in a new city. You're tired, you've been stuck on a plane for 9 hours, your back hurts, your ears are popping, and you're dreaming about the moment you finally escape the airport and it's something that isn't a sad little bag of pretzels.
Standard airport experience so far.
As the plane descends, you look out of the window, and standing in the middle of a giant empty field is a 32-foot tall blue horse. Not just any horse, it has glowing red eyes.
Why is it glowing?
Because apparently normal horse statues are too welcoming.
Already hate this airport.
Everyone calls it Lucifer.
Of course they do, and I can see why.
Now here's the part where things get weird. While building the statue, a piece of it broke off, fell on the sculpture, and it killed him.
I'm sorry, what?
The horse literally killed its own creator.
So the airport installed a demon horse statue that committed manslaughter as the first thing people see when they land.
Correct?
That's not an airport decoration, that's a warning.
Exactly. Because that horse, that's just the first weird thing about Denver International Airport. Inside the airport, there are murals that appear to show gas-masked soldiers and the end of the world.
Great.
There's a dedication plaque referencing a mysterious organization that doesn't actually exist.
Fantastic.
Airport costs billions more than expected. Some people believe the airport is actually a giant underground survival complex for the global elite.
Of course they do.
Others say it's the headquarters of the New World Order.
Naturally.
And some think the tunnels below the airport lead to alien bases and secret military facilities.
You know what? I preferred the demon horse.
Oh, we're not done with the horse, because some people think Lucifer is guarding the entrance to something underground.
Like what?
That's the question. Welcome to Mindzilla.
A podcast where my fiance reads something on the internet and suddenly I'm investigating demon horses and secret bunkers.
Listen, if an airport installs a glowing red-eyed murder horse outside the front door, you cannot be surprised when people start asking questions.
I feel like question number 1 should have been, maybe don't install the murder horse?
Too late now. Today we're diving into Denver International Airport, the airport that might secretly be a bunker, a secret society headquarters, an alien base, or the entrance to a massive underground tunnel network.
Or
Yes,
it could just be an airport.
they built a giant glowing demon horse that killed his own sculpture.
Fair point.
Let's get to it. Alright, before we get into the juicy bits of it, we need to start with a simple question. Why does Denver even have this airport?
Because planes need somewhere to land?
Thank you. But Denver already has an airport. Before Denver International Airport opened in 1995, the city used Stapleton International Airport, and for decades it worked perfectly.
So why replace it?
Officially, because Stapleton was getting crowded, the city said it needed a bigger airport with more room for future growth, which on the surface, it makes sense.
Okay, that's normal city planning.
Except the new airport they built wasn't just bigger. When it opened, it became one of the largest airports in the world by land area. We're talking about 53 square miles.
That's not an airport, that's a country.
It's bigger than the entire city of Manhattan.
Why does an airport need that much land?
Great question. And that's where the weirdness begins. Because the airport isn't just large, it was absurdly expensive. The original estimated cost to build Denver International Airport was about $1.7 billion. And the final cost? Almost $4.8 billion.
So a casual $3 billion jump, making it one of the most expensive airport projects ever built at the time. That's the point where taxpayers start asking questions.
Oh, they absolutely did. And it got worse, because the airport was supposed to open in October 1993, but it didn't.
Then they pushed it to December 1993, then March 1994. Still didn't open. Then May 1994. Nope. The airport didn't finally open until February 1995.
16 months. And during that time, construction workers began telling some very interesting stories. Several workers claimed that during construction, entire buildings that had already been built were suddenly ordered to be buried underground.
Sorry, what? Why would you bury a building you just finished?
No one ever gave a clear answer. The official explanation was that some buildings were built incorrectly and had to be covered or replaced. But the stories didn't stop there. Workers also reported that huge amounts of dirt were removed from the site, far more than what seemed necessary for an airport.
Meaning they were digging something.
Exactly. Some construction crew claimed that enormous underground spaces were created during the build, large enough for things that had absolutely nothing to do with baggage systems.
Please tell me this is where the bunker theory starts.
Oh, we're just warming up, because when people looked at all of that, one theory started spreading. What if the airport wasn't just an airport? What if most of it was underground?
And if that's true, then the real question becomes, what is exactly down there? I swear if the answer is lizard people,
You're going to wish it was just the lizard people, because next we're going underground. And this is where the tunnel system enters the story.
before we go full lizard people bunker madness, I want to start with something important. There actually are tunnels under this airport.
Yes, they are.
And they're not tiny either. Beneath Denver International Airport, there's a pretty large underground infrastructure. There are service corridors, maintenance tunnels, and an underground train system that moves passengers between terminals.
So far, normal airport stuff.
Mostly. But the big one is the automated baggage system. When the airport was being designed in the early 90s, engineers wanted to build the most advanced luggage system ever created. The idea was that bags would move through miles of underground tracks using high-speed automated carts. No humans needed.
Which sounds like something that was going to go wrong.
Oh, it went catastrophically wrong. When they tested the system publicly in 1994, it basically turned into luggage Armageddon. There's actual footage of this test where luggage is flying off conveyor belts and smashing into walls. It looked like a very expensive airport-themed pinball machine.
So they built this giant underground network, and then it immediately tried to murder everyone's suitcase.
Pretty much. After spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to fix it, the airport eventually gave up and shut most of the system down. Large sections of the underground baggage network were simply abandoned.
And abandoned tunnels are basically conspiracy theorists' catnip.
Exactly. Because once people learned there were miles of tunnels beneath the airport, speculation started growing. First, it was simple questions. How big is the underground area really? How many levels are down there? And then construction workers started adding fuel to the fire.
Some workers claimed there were multiple underground levels beneath the airport. Not just luggage corridors, but huge open spaces, rooms big enough to drive trucks through.
Now, to be fair, airports do need large maintenance areas. But when people hear phrases like multiple underground levels, their brains immediately go straight into conspiracy land. And one of the biggest ideas that came out of this was something called DUMBs.
Which sounds fake, but is a real conspiracy term.
Right, DUMB stands for Deep Underground Military Base. The theory is that the US government has constructed massive secret facilities deep beneath the earth. These bases supposedly contain things like military command centers, experimental technology labs, nuclear survival bunkers, and sometimes alien research facilities. And according to some theorists, Denver Airport sits directly on top of one.
Which leads to another location that always gets dragged into this story.
Yes, Cheyenne Mountain Complex.
That's where the famous NORAD command center is located.
Right. North American Aerospace Defense Command operates inside Cheyenne Mountain. It is a hardened military facility literally built inside a mountain. The place was designed during the Cold War to survive nuclear war.
Which is already extremely conspiracy friendly.
And the mountain complex sits about 100 miles south of Denver. So naturally, people started connecting dots. Some theorists claim there are secret tunnels connecting Denver Airport to Cheyenne Mountain. Underground transport routes that allow military officials or government leaders to move secretly between the two locations.
Are there any actual maps showing these tunnels?
No, but the theory kept evolving, because once people started imagining massive underground facilities beneath the airport, the next logical question became, what would they be used for? And that's where things escalate quickly.
Some conspiracy theorists believe the underground areas are actually apocalypse bunkers, massive survival complexes designed for the global elite.
The idea is that if something catastrophic happened, world leaders and powerful figures could retreat underground and wait it out.
And the airport above ground would serve as the perfect cover, no one questioning why important people are suddenly flying into Denver.
Plus, the airport's enormous land area means there's a lot of space where, hypothetically, underground structures could exist without anyone noticing.
So, according to the theory, if the world ends, the billionaires will be chilling in a secret bunker under Denver airport while the rest of us are outside arguing about canned beans.
To be fair, that sounds exactly like what billionaires would do.
The bunker theory isn't even the strangest part of this airport, because inside the terminal, the airport itself starts dropping clues,
Clues?
massive murals, and some people believe they're literally predicting the end of the world.
Good. Apocalypse paintings. Exactly what I want to see before my flight.
Wait until you hear what's actually in them. Inside the main terminal area, there are several enormous murals painted by artist Leo Tanguma. They are giant wall-sized murals stretching across the entire sections of the airport.
Which is normal for public art.
Yes, but the content of these murals is where things get strange, because the murals show scenes that look like they belong in a post-apocalyptic movie.
Already seems like an odd vibe for an airport.
Let's start with one of the most famous images. In one mural, there is a towering soldier wearing a gas mask. A soldier dressed in a dark military uniform with a long coat. He's holding a rifle in one hand and a giant sword in the other.
Okay, that's intense.
Behind him, the city is burning. Children are crying. The sky looks grey and devastated.
That's not exactly have a nice flight.
And the details make it even stranger. In front of the soldier, there are children from different cultures gathered together, but they're not celebrating. They look terrified. Some of them are mourning. One child is holding a dead dove, which traditionally is a symbol of peace.
So the peace dove is dead.
Yes, and nearby there's a group of people carrying what appears to be coffins wrapped in flags.
This is in an airport.
Yes. Imagine you heading to gate B24 and you look up and see a giant mural of war, death, and gas masked soldiers. And that's exactly why conspiracy theories exploded around these murals, because people started asking, why would an airport display artwork that looks like the aftermath of a global catastrophe?
Maybe the artist was just trying to make a statement about war?
That's actually the official explanation. According to Tanguma, the artwork tells a two-part story. The first murals show humanity destroying the world through violence, war, and environmental damage. Then, the murals show people coming together and to rebuild a peaceful society.
So it's meant to be hopeful.
That's the idea. But conspiracy theorists see something very different. They believe the murals aren't symbolic. They believe they're predictive.
Predictive of what?
A plan, specifically a New World Order plan.
Of course, we've reached a new world order.
According to that theory, the murals represent three stages of a global transformation. Stage 1, global war and destruction, which is represented by the gas masked soldier and devastated cities. Stage 2, mass death and collapse, which is why you see dead animals, destroyed forests, and children mourning. And then Stage 3, a new unified world society.
So the murals are basically a storyboard for world domination.
That's what some people believe, because in later sections of the artwork, you see children from all over the world gathered together peacefully. They're celebrating. Weapons have been destroyed, nature is being restored, everything looks calm again.
Which sounds like a hopeful ending.
Unless you believe the conspiracy interpretation, because in that version, the peaceful society only exists after massive global catastrophe wipes out most of humanity.
Apocalypse first, utopia later.
And the symbolism gets even darker. In another section of the mural, several animals appear dead or endangered. There are also scenes showing forests destroyed and ecosystems collapsing, which some people interpret as part of a planned environmental reset. And here's the thing that made it even weirder. For years, the airport never really tried to hide these murals. They're displayed very prominently. Thousands of travelers walk past them every day, which creates this strange situation where conspiracy theorists started asking if this really is symbolic of some kind of global plan, why would they display it so openly?
Maybe because it's just art.
Or because hiding something in plain sight is the best way to keep it hidden.
Please don't start with the Illuminati logic.
Too late, because once people started examining the airport's art and symbolism, they discovered something else inside the building. Something even stranger than murals. Dedication plaque.
Which sounds boring until you actually look at it. There's a dedication plaque installed when the airport opened in 1995. At first glance, it looks like a pretty standard ceremonial marker. It commemorates the opening of the airport and includes a time capsule.
Which apparently is meant to be opened in 2094.
Time capsules are normal. Cities do them all the time. They bury newspapers, photos, cultural stuff, basically a little message to the future.
But this plaque has a couple of interesting details. First of all, it features a large symbol belonging to Freemasonry,
Which immediately set off every conspiracy theorist on the internet, because Freemasons are one of the most famous secret societies in history.
Their symbols have been tied fairly or unfairly to all kinds of conspiracies involving hidden influence over governments and world events.
To be fair, the Freemasons do participate in a lot of ceremonial building dedications. Historically, they've been involved in laying cornerstones for public buildings.
What really confused everyone was the name listed on a plaque,
Plaque states that the airport dedication ceremony was conducted by a group called the New World Airport Commission.
which sounds like the most suspicious name imaginable.
It sounds like a villain organization in a Marvel movie.
The problem is, no one can find any record of this organization existing,
There's no official government agency with that name.
which means people immediately connected it to one of the most famous conspiracy phrases ever, the New World Order.
Of course.
For decades, conspiracy theorists have claimed powerful global elites are secretly working to create centralized world government, a global system where national borders disappear and a small group controls everything.
And when people see the word New World connected to a mysterious organization, they start connecting dots. Now, to be fair, the most likely explanation is that the name referred to a temporary civic committee created during the airport's construction, possibly a ceremonial group involved in the dedication event.
But that explanation doesn't stop the theories, because that plaque doesn't just reference the organization. It also lists the Freemasons, and it marks the location of a time capsule buried beneath the airport's floor.
Which, again, totally normal.
Except conspiracy theorists started asking a different question. What if the time capsule isn't just full of newspapers and photos? What if it contains instructions, symbols, or messages intended for a future world government?
That's a lot of responsibility to hide under an airport floor.
The theories go even further. Some people claim the plaque and time capsule represent a symbolic cornerstone, like the ceremonial start of something much bigger. Not just an airport, but the foundation of a new global system.
Which would be an incredible dramatic thing to hide inside an airport terminal.
But remember, this is the same airport with apocalypse murals and a demon horse outside. And if that wasn't enough, there is another detail that pushed conspiracy theorists even deeper down the rabbit hole. Because when you look at the airport from above, some people believe the runway layouts form a giant occult symbol.
I'm starting to miss the luggage disaster.
From above, the runways stretch out in several directions across the huge open land around the airport. But when conspiracy theorists looked at the pattern, some people became convinced the layout resembles a swastika.
Which is obviously going to raise some eyebrows.
Now, to be clear, the runways aren't literally shaped like a perfect swastika. But when you look at certain angles of the runway arrangement, the crisscrossing lines can resemble the symbol.
Which is how most internet conspiracies start.
And the theory escalated quickly because once people believed the runways looked like a swastika, they started asking why.
And that's where the explanation split into two camps.
The first explanation is the actual engineering reason. Airports often design runways in multiple directions so planes can take off and land safely regardless of wind conditions. Denver sits on a large flat plain where wind directions can change rapidly. So engineers build the runways at different angles to handle variable crosswinds.
Which is extremely boring but extremely logical.
But conspiracy theorists saw something very different, because the swastika isn't just a controversial symbol, it's also an ancient symbol used in various cultures long before the Nazis. In some historical contexts, it represented power, cycles, and cosmic movement.
But the modern association is obviously with Nazi Party.
Right. So, one branch of conspiracy theory claims the runway layout is secretly referencing Nazi symbolism, which then leads to a even deeper rabbit hole. Because some believe Nazi scientists and secret societies didn't disappear after World War II. They claim elements of that ideology were absorbed into hidden power structures.
We are 2 steps away from Antarctica bases.
Give it time. But the conspiracy grows even further when people start looking at the airport's design through the lens of occult architecture.
Occult architecture.
The idea that powerful organizations sometimes design buildings using symbolic geometry. Certain shapes, alignments, or layouts are believed to represent hidden meanings tied to secret knowledge or rituals.
So, people are basically reading airport runways like crop circles.
And because Freemasonry symbolism already appears everywhere in the airport, some theorists believe the entire layout could be kind of a structure designed to represent power, order, or hidden authority.
Or, and hear me out, it's an airport with runways pointed in different directions because wind exists.
Is the official explanation.
I'm sticking with the wind explanation.
But the community didn't stop there, because when you combine the runway shape with the secret society plaque, with the underground tunnels, with the apocalypse murals, you start to get a picture that looks very strange.
You get a conspiracy theorist dream vacation destination.
And eventually the rumors became so widespread that the airport itself had to respond.
Which I imagine they did by calmly explaining everything and moving on.
No, they did something much funnier. They leaned into the conspiracy. Hard.
Please tell me the airport didn't start trolling the internet.
Well, they absolutely did. And honestly, their response might be the best airport marketing campaign in history. Because instead of shutting the conspiracy theories down, they started playing into them. For years, the airport has released marketing material that basically jokes about its own conspiracy reputation. Billboards, posters, even official social media content have leaned into the phrases like, "Are we creating the world's greatest airport conspiracy?"
That is insane.
It's the only airport in the world that seems to have looked at being accused of running a secret underground Illuminati bunker and thought, brilliant, free branding.
I respect the confidence.
And it doesn't stop there, because inside the airport itself, they leaned into the weirdness even more. There are talking gargoyle statues placed around the terminal.
Talking gargoyles.
Yes, small stone creatures that pop up from luggage areas and speak to travelers, tell jokes, give travel advice. They basically act like bizarre airport mascots.
There's nothing says, relax, you're safe, like a stone demon talking to you about your baggage claim. Gargoyles are historically important. In architecture, they were traditionally seen as a protective figures, guardians meant to ward off evil spirits from buildings. So the airport didn't help itself there.
No, not at all, because conspiracy theorists immediately went, why does an airport need protective stone guardians?
Answer: it doesn't.
They also placed signs around the terminal that jokingly reference conspiracy theories. One of the most famous fake signs points to travelers towards Illuminati headquarters.
That's either the funniest marketing team in history or the most chaotic admission ever made.
That's the key thing here. The airport didn't try to erase the conspiracy theories. It did the opposite. It absorbed them. It turned itself into a living meme.
Which is honestly very 2026 energy. You can't beat the conspiracy theorist, become this conspiracy theorist.
And this created a strange feedback loop, because the more the airport leaned into the jokes, the more conspiracy theorists believe it was a confirmation. If you joke about it, that's apparently the most suspicious thing of all.
Alright, now we arrive at the thing that ties all of it together. Unfortunately, I already know what this is going to be.
Outside Denver International Airport stands a 32-foot blue Mustang. Officially, it's called Mustang, but everyone calls it Lucifer.
Which sounds like a nightclub I'd avoid at all cost.
The artist who created it, Luis Jimenez, was working on a statue when a massive section of it broke loose during construction, and it killed him.
That is genuinely horrific.
It is, and after that, the statue was finished by his family and installed at the airport. But from that moment on, it stopped being just art in the public imagination. It became something else.
Cursed horse.
Now look at it. Bright blue skin, exposed red veins, eyes glowing red like they're lit from within, standing in a fixed, aggressive pose at the entrance of the airport.
It looks like it's waiting.
That's the word people keep using, waiting. Some interpretations link Lucifer to the idea of Lucifer, a fallen figure, a bringer of light, or, in more modern mythology, a representation of rebellion or chaos.
So basically, evil horse interpretation unlocked.
Yes, others go further and say it represents one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse, a symbol of war, death, or destruction placed at the threshold of a major global transport hub.
We couldn't just have a nice, welcoming sculpture like a dolphin or something.
Now, we got up the apocalypse horse. And then people started tying everything together. The tunnels beneath the airport, the abandoned underground baggage systems, the rumors of massive Eden constructions, the bunker theories, the murals showing destruction and rebirth, and now this horse standing guard outside.
So the full conspiracy becomes airport above ground, something huge underneath, symbolic warning at the entrance, and a bunch of weird art telling a story nobody officially acknowledges.
In the most extreme versions of the theory is a guardian figure, symbolic sentry placed at the entrance of a facility that may or may not contain underground command centers, vault bunkers for elites, great military infrastructure, or something even more speculative.
Like aliens.
Always aliens. Every theory seems to lead to aliens, and I think that's their way to deceive us. Now, the idea is this. If the airport is a gateway to something hidden below, then Lucifer is standing at the threshold, watching.
I hate how you said threshold like it's a fantasy novel.
Because that's how people talk about it online. They describe the airport as a layered structure. Above ground, travel, planes, normal life. Below ground, something else entirely. And right at the boundary between those two worlds is a giant blue horse that looks like it's guarding the entrance to something that it doesn't want you to see.
Or, and stay with me here, it's a statue outside an airport.
I admire your commitment to sanity, but at this point, the internet turned it into a global myth,
So, where does that leave us?
standing in the middle of it. Because whether you believe any of the conspiracies or not, the truth is still strange. The airport is enormous. It does have extensive underground systems. The heart is undeniably intense. The symbolism is chaotic. And Lucifer is real.
Yep, and that horse is definitely real. And I don't like that I've said that sentence out loud.
So maybe the real conspiracy isn't that there's a secret bunker under Denver Airport. Maybe the conspiracy is how easily humans turn unfinished information into a full story about hidden worlds.
Or the airport is normal, and they just made one very bad decision involving a glowing blue horse.
Either way, if you ever land there and you see Lucifer waiting outside, just remember, you're either arriving at a regular airport or you just entered the most conspiratorially over-designed building on Earth.
I'm booking a train.
Smart choice.
Well, that was Denver International Airport, an airport that may or may not double as an underground bunker, an art gallery for apocalyptic murals, and the headquarters for the most unsettling horse statue ever built.
I'm not exaggerating. Lucifer is absolutely going to haunt my dreams tonight.
The glowing red eyes, the towering size, the fact that the statue literally killed its own sculptor.
Exactly what you want greeting you before a long haul flight.
So, if you enjoyed today's descent into murals, secret tunnels, and mildly cursed airport decor,
Make sure you follow the show wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode.
and if you're watching on Rumble, come join us over on our locals community as well.
Also, the biggest thing you can do to help us right now is share the show. Send an episode to a friend, sibling, coworker, anyone who enjoys a bit of conspiracy chaos.
Because sharing really is caring. And it also tells us you're enjoying what you're hearing.
And honestly, that gives us the strength to keep going because this show is something we genuinely love doing.
Even if it occasionally ruins airports forever.
Or sleep. I will not be sleeping tonight. I already know it.
Now, next week, we're taking a sharp turn away from demon horses and secret tunnels.
And into something very real and very creepy.
We're diving into antivirus.
A rare but extremely dangerous virus carried by rodents that has caused mysterious outbreaks around the world.
We'll be looking at where it comes from, how people catch it, the strange cases that made headlines, and why suddenly cleaning out your garage might feel like a horror movie.
Or is this 2026 COVID thing all over again? Let's find out next week, unless we are already in confinement by then.
If you thought the airport conspiracies were unsettling,
Wait until you hear about the virus hiding in your attic.
alright, Mindzillians,
Stay curious,
stay weird.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye!